lines. Let's talk about modesty for just a little bit. We're in a culture where modesty is not a high value. So sort of two perspectives, how were standards set regarding modesty in your home as ladies, and how did you respond to that? And then men, from your standpoint as normal men with hormones, what would you like to say to women, to our women out here about the effect of modesty? So, ladies, we'll start with you.
I think one of the main influences in our lives in the area of modesty has been our dads, our dad, we only have one, but just speaking to the dads out there, I think this is a very vital role that you have in your daughter's lives. My mom, when she would speak to us about modesty, it would go in with the whole other list of things we had to do. It was like clean your room, don't put your dish there, blah, 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 don't wear that, blah, blah, blah. And then we didn't listen at all. But then when my dad would say it, he wouldn't just say, you need to change that. He would say, all right, when a guy looks at you, this is what he's going to think. And he would tell us exactly maybe what would go through a guy's mind, which would totally revolt all of us. We'd run inside, we'd put on like a bodysuit or something, run back out the door because we didn't want that going through our brothers in Christ's mind. But seriously, what our dad had to say was something my mom couldn't offer because that's not how women think. But my dad really could offer that piece of advice and influence us in a lot of ways. And I think in that area also, he just pointed out to us that we are just treasures of God, and we're women of God, and we want to be that, and we want to be someone who is pure, and we want to look for a man, maybe a future husband, that is pure and has that motive. And he really stressed how if we dress in a way that's provocative, in a way that draws attention to our body, that's probably the kind of guy we're going to draw. We're going to draw someone who's looking at our body, and that's what they're going to fall in love with. And if we do that, a few years down the road, once we're married and our bodies don't look as attractive anymore, maybe the thing that's attracted them to us, like our body, isn't attracted to another younger woman who has a nicer body than us then. But the cool thing is that if our heart and that which Christ is still working on in our life is beautiful, and that's what they fall in love with, that's just going to get more attractive the older we get, hopefully, as we walk with Christ. And so they really stress that when we dress so that they fall in love with who Christ is inside of you, not for how you look on the outside. And so that was some advice my dad gave us.
Very good. Thank you. Guys?
Well, modesty is a really big thing. I was kind of bummed because I never got to wear a tube top, but, you know. No, but, like, as much as guys may want to say it, if a girl walks by in a skimpy outfit, we may want to say that it doesn't, you know, catch our eye or bug us, and we're totally fine with it, but everybody knows it does. And so one of the things that kind of for me is if there is somebody that does that, it's a girl that's kind of crying out in desperation saying, I need something. And she doesn't feel that what's inside is enough to offer. And somebody that does dress modestly and does present themselves as who they are and not what they look like, that's really what you will fall in love with for many years. Like she said, that's what's going to get more beautiful and grow more as time goes on. And so to fall in love with the girl and not the girl's body, that's totally what modesty does for a guy. And if a girl is and has a father that can coach and train enough to make them dress that way, it does a lot better off for them, and it makes it a lot easier on the guys too.
Just so that it is abundantly clear to everyone, especially the women, because the men tend to know this, a woman walking by in a skimpy outfit is a major, major stumbling block for a man. Just the way our brain works, the way our eyes work, the way the two things work together, it's how we were created, and it is a major stumbling block. So I have to agree with everything he just said, that it is very attractive sometimes to meet a girl who is modest, a girl who doesn't have to sell herself on, you know, her body and on her image and things like that, things that are transient, and a girl who will, you know, sell herself rather on her soul and on her heart and on her mind and the way she thinks and reacts and will talk with you. So
I think to kind of build on what both of you guys said, which is all very true, is not only is it tougher to fall in love with the person and not on what's on the outside when they're dressed like that, it's you can't talk to them and have a real conversation with them when you're like looking down like this all the time. You're having the conversation at the same time you got your shoulder angles, you're like, what do I do? So it's
Thank you very much. Good word. The word modesty is can be interpreted very, very differently. So if you just say be modest, can you give us any more specifics on what you have used as definitions of modesty? What are some guidelines for that?
only showing the eyes, that's it, nothing else. Just want to see your eyes.
In our family, it kind of went by the guidelines. It can't be too tight. It can't be too low. It can't be too short or low. So basically, we weren't allowed to wear tight tops that were cut low, so V-necks or like low V-necks or whatnot. Our clothing was not to show our underwear, so spaghetti strap tank tops were totally out. Really low pants that your underwear are hanging out of were out. So those were kind of the guidelines that we went by. And our stomach couldn't show. So, and that was when we were active. So we couldn't have a tank top that went right to the top of our pants. But if we breathed or, anything, our stomach would show. So that was unacceptable.
I'd say kind of something for modesty for me is that if a girl's dressing modest, I can have a conversation with her and not be tempted to look anywhere else. Or as she's walking by, it's not that I need to take a second glance because, there's something else there. It's just the girl, and I can look into her eyes and have a conversation with her and not be tempted in any other way. That's kind of how I view modesty.
In our culture, obviously, the fashions are fairly immodest, and one of the things we get is, well, that's the only way you can dress, and what can I do? And parents saying, what can I do? I can't enforce how they dress. Do you think parents can and should?
Obviously, you guys did, but I think they definitely should. A girl may go to school and see other girls dressed, in an immodest way and have all the guys, attracted to them, and she goes to school with a turtleneck on or whatever, and, nobody really wants to talk to her except for, one guy over here. Well, that one guy may be the only pure guy there, maybe the only guy who really knows what's important, and that's the person that she needs to attract. And so I think that you can and should enforce that, and they will find the right guy through that. They don't need their body to find the right guy.